Will Melissa destroy Jamaica's top tourist spots? What if Dunn's River Falls was washed away? What if the home of Bob Marley, a global music icon, was flattened? This isn't just a nightmare scenario. Imagine a monstrous threat, a Category 5 hurricane named Melissa, bearing down on Jamaica, poised to become the most powerful storm ever to strike the island. News headlines scream words like catastrophic flooding and life-threatening storm surge. But as I began to explore this hypothetical disaster, I realized something unsettling. The hurricane itself might not be the whole story. The real question isn't just what a storm like Melissa could do, but why its impact could be so devastating. What if the true danger to Jamaica's treasures has been quietly building for decades, long before this imaginary storm ever formed? Picture it. Hurricane Melissa, a monster Category 5 storm, with winds up to 175 mph, heading straight for Jamaica.
Meteorologists warn it could be the strongest storm in the island's history.
The U.S. National Hurricane Center would issue dire alerts of life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flooding and landslides. In response, evacuations would sweep through coastal communities. Kingston and Montego Bay airports would shut down. Countries like Canada would tell travelers to avoid Jamaica altogether. The storm's slow movement would be the true terror, dumping up to 40 inches of rain in some regions, with storm surges reaching 13 feet above ground. This combination would unleash destruction unlike anything the island has seen, leveling homes, erasing roads, and reshaping entire coastlines. At stake isn't just infrastructure or lives, it's the soul of Jamaica. Cultural landmarks like the Bob Marley Museum and Rose Hall Great House, and natural wonders like Dunn's River Falls, the Blue Hole, and Negro's white sand beaches all could vanish or suffer irreversible damage. The tourism industry, a cornerstone of Jamaica's economy, would grind to a halt. But beneath this scenario lies a deeper truth. Jamaica's defenses have already been weakening for years, and that's where the real danger begins. The question isn't just how much damage a hurricane could cause, it's why Jamaica is so vulnerable to begin with. The answer lies in a slow, quiet erosion of the island's natural defenses. Start with the beaches, the crown jewels of Jamaican tourism. In Negril, the world-famous 7-mile beach is shrinking, losing up to a meter of sand each year. Within a generation, it could be a shadow of what it is today. Near Kingston, Hellshire Beach, once packed with locals and visitors, has almost vanished. Some areas losing over 30 meters of sand in just 15 years. These beaches aren't just postcard beauty. They are natural barriers that absorb storm surges. As they disappear, the ocean creeps closer to homes, resorts, and communities, stripping away Jamaica's frontline defense. The crisis doesn't stop there. Coral reefs, Jamaica's underwater shield, are dying. Overfishing, pollution, and warming seas have caused widespread destruction. In early 2024, one marine expert reported that 90% of Jamaica's corals had perished in a single mass bleaching event. Without these reefs, waves crash harder, storm surges travel farther, and coastal erosion accelerates. Then came an even more disturbing discovery. A few years ago, the St. Anne Public Health Department reported that water samples from Dunn's River Falls failed quality tests, contaminated with fecal coliform bacteria, a sign of pollution from human waste. Though later tests deemed it safe, the incident exposed a systemic problem: unregulated development, poor waste management, and agricultural runoff poisoning rivers and coastal waters. Now imagine 30 inches of hurricane rain flushing this pollution straight into the sea, choking already damaged reefs and spreading disease. The public health crisis after the storm could be just as destructive as the storm itself. But the most troubling truth? Much of this vulnerability is man-made. Years of short-term development decisions have prioritized profits over sustainability. Environmental experts warn of a cult of development, where projects like the Southern Coastal Highway have bulldozed mangroves and wetlands, nature's last line of defense. Even Bob Marley Beach, in Bull Bay, once a sacred Rastafari refuge, is under threat from luxury development. Locals fear fences and resorts will lock them out of their own heritage. It's a sobering pattern. In chasing progress, Jamaica may be dismantling the very natural and cultural treasures that define it. So, will Melissa destroy Jamaica's top tourist spots? The terrifying answer is yes, it could. But that's not the full truth. The deeper, more haunting reality is that Jamaica's natural resilience, its beaches, reefs, mangroves, and rivers, has been quietly eroding for decades. An hurricane like Melissa would simply finish what time, neglect, and poor planning have already begun. The vanishing beaches of Negril and Hellshire are more than economic losses. They are missing shields against the sea. The dead coral reefs are not just environmental casualties. They are broken ramparts once protecting the coast. And the polluted waters at Dunn's River are not isolated warnings. They are symptoms of a national environmental breakdown. The Melissa scenario is, in truth, a metaphor, a collision between climate change and human choices. Jamaica sits on the front lines of global warming, yet much of its infrastructure remains planted along its fragile, eroding coast. What's happening in Jamaica is a warning for every coastal nation. The fight against climate change isn't just about cutting emissions, it's about rebuilding natural defenses before it's too late. If you believe these stories need to be told, subscribe and join the movement to uncover the hidden forces shaping our world. When a storm like Melissa finally passes, the headlines will count the losses, the homes destroyed, the beaches gone, the landmarks damaged. But the real story will be what's left behind, a nation at a crossroads. Will recovery mean simply rebuilding what was lost, leaving Jamaica vulnerable once more? Or will it mark the beginning of something new, a national mission to restore mangroves, revive coral reefs, clean rivers, and reclaim beaches? The future of Dunn's River Falls and the legacy of Bob Marley depends on that choice. The real storm isn't the one forming in the Caribbean skies. It's the one that's already here. The slow, human-made disaster we can still choose to stop. Elegant branded end slate with subtle ocean texture. Subscribe and share icons. Credits roll cue. As we close, remember, Jamaica's future depends on choices we make today. Together, we can protect coasts, reefs, and communities. If this story helped, please subscribe, like, and share. Comment with the next place we should cover.